Did it go down by itself? Okay, came back on.
No, no, no. That was the countdown of starting. Now we are live. I mean, live among us. We have been
Hey,
live for a long time, by the way.
Let me say my mandatory hello.
Yeah, there you go. So thank you so much. This is amazing that now only two of us are in one location, and the other two are poles apart. So Elmar being in US.
America, Africa, and Asia, and
Exactly, right?
maybe you could count Europe too if you were
I
in
mean,
this.
how dare you call Turkey Asia?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't count this little much that is in Europe.
Don't tell it to Turk people.
right, at least say Eurasia. That way you're covered.
Yeah, right?
Say what?
We all know that Shahab's geography is one of his strengths.
And history. Let's not forget that,
Okay.
among others.
We have one person who's good at both, so that's enough for the crew.
It's very evident, though, Elmar.
I was gonna say you, just to
It's
not give
not
him
a
the credit,
debate.
but I mean, you ruined it
It,
now.
without
Is
a
it
debate,
is
It's
it
just
from
an
your
I, sir.
it's an honor.
It's
it's an
just an
eye?
I. You have another, so it's
Who
fine.
let the dogs out?
So what's our
It is
topic today,
honor.
gentlemen? Do we have a certain topic, or are we just gonna make fun of each other like always?
Why not? That's the topic of its own. But actually, I was checking the notes that we had in Silent Badgers, and this year, despite the fact that we had actually the chance to be in one place for a good long time, all of us were so busy that we couldn't have enough Badgers meeting.
Sure.
And one of the meetings that we missed was the mid-year 2024. But anyways, now we are almost at the end of the third quarter, and we have one more quarter left. So I thought that's not a bad idea to have a recap of the year, because that was a hell of a year, at least for me, and I think for almost all of us. I mean, that
In
was a
good and
hell
bad
of a year.
ways.
Sorry?
Yeah, in good and bad ways.
In good and bad ways, of course. I mean, that's life, right?
Well,
But
life almost ended for one of us.
yeah, and and just to make it mainstream, I loved the idea of Elmar bringing it to uh, good, bad, ugly. So, in order not to like decay from the mainstream, let's talk about this, and then we can move to the second topic that I wanted to talk about it with you guys. That is about the U-turn. But let's start with the 2024 first, and then we go to the next topic if we still had time. Do you agree?
Sure.
Or is it too boring? Anytime we can go back to make fun of each other, by the
I
way.
think we will intersperse that in our discussion.
Exactly. Who's gonna start? I can start by my own. Are we good?
Yeah, maybe you start, because
Yeah,
frankly, I'm
right.
not going to give it much
Anyways,
thought, so I'll need a
okay.
minute to think about it.
So that was hell of a year for me. Yeah, it still is. I mean, I could not learn more lessons in the matter of 9 months in a year than this year. Many ups and downs, many groundbreaking lessons actually for me. Maybe the most and the biggest lesson that I learned, and I keep reminding myself about it, is I don't know what is good for me. And I learned this concept from Jordan Peterson. And just recently, the more I try to bring back life on the track that I believe it should be, the less I am successful. And the less that I am successful, the more I'm reminding myself of do I know what is good for me, or I'm just moving so
What do
hard?
you mean by successful?
That's a good question. I mean, those expectations of mine were not met, or when they are met, I I feel they were successful. Like on any, like let me give you a very um, walking example. Like at work, more than 2 years ago, I left my previous work with the idea of career advancement. Down the line, after 2 years, uh, I almost don't have a job of that form anymore. And regardless of how much I tried to make it successful in my way, there are things that are not going to work that way. But this is not the lesson that I learned specifically this year. This year, I was just learning that regardless of how much I'm saying, work in this life to make it the way that I want, there is a good possibility that I'm not going to be successful. And if sometimes I am successful, it's just pure luck, most probably.
So by being successful, you mean bending the world to your will?
Yeah, somehow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a tough one. Because to
But
me,
then,
you look pretty successful depending on what you've done. So we've talked about this, we've beaten this to death, but I don't know why it doesn't click for you. You
no.
took
I'm
the
I'm trying
luxury
to I'm trying to get back
of
to that.
not having a job you don't like. That's not a success or failure. You were given that job. You chose not to take it because you know what's better. So,
So that's
and you're
okay.
spending your energy in a positive way. Unlike me,
Do
for
I
example.
know what's better?
Don't you know you know what is bad? I think that's a good
That
start,
that's yeah,
right?
that's true.
Obviously, if you
That's
don't
the
know,
Alex Hormozy way of putting it.
I didn't know that, but yeah. So
Yeah, he
we
said
can
that. He said
we
when
can't let go of serendipity, but the thing you can do is know what is bad and not do it. And that's not a small feat, by the way, because I know what is bad and I keep doing it. Yeah.
Same here, sadly.
what is that wrong thing that you could stop doing and you would stop doing?
So many. Where to start?
Yeah. But I became a dad this year. That was crazy. Still is. Still I am trying to understand what's going on. Specifically these days more. These days that I'm spending time with my daughter more than before. Just two of us. Very tiring, very energy taking. Very much. Like it's non-stop work day and night. Literally, day and night. And then sometimes I think that could I be luckier than this? I mean, I could just miss seeing my daughter growing up because she's changing every day.
Hmm.
And then I think it's almost not real that I have a daughter now. I can take care of her every day. I can see her growing up. Basically, nothing is happening that is going to stop this until I decide to stop this. Which again brings more responsibility on my shoulders that should I do it if I can?
Do what?
Like deciding to go and work somewhere far from them for whatever reason.
So in the list of things that are bad for you, I think you've learned that lesson that is not good for you. I think me and Elmar agree on this. So the way at least Elmar uses his money is to live, right? He's not very dependent on money. He can get by with very little, although he earns the most out of all of us. Pretty generous guy. I don't want to really feed his ego anymore, and it's already fed. But the money, the amount of money that is spent is not that much, and he can, he eats well, he treats people, helps people, etc. There is really a certain amount of money that he needs to.
Elmar is like, you have no idea how much money I waste.
Yeah, and he still manages to waste some money. So the thing is, like, you go away to make that money, and that money is supposed to be a tool for your life being sweeter, which is, I think, how Elmar spends his money. But there are, like, scarcity makes value, right? There is nothing more scarce than seeing your daughter grow up. So what are you going to trade it with?
Nothing. I'm just talking about lessons learned.
And I'm just, talking very idealistically here. I obviously, like, at some time you need to work. You're not supposed to, like, always be there. But leaving your family, seeing what is done before when Simia was alone, and now that she has a daughter, definitely, I think you've learned a lesson that that's not the good thing to do. So since you've been avoiding the bad successfully, I think you gotta keep up that path.
Yeah, thank you.
But I know that it still occupies a place in your mind because you have to do it. That's the thing that makes you you. But still, as friends, I think we have to remind you every once in a while of what's happening.
Just before moving to Elmar, can I ask you to bring up that magic mic that you had last night?
Sure. Is it bad? Yep.
So maybe it was from your face.
It's very warm.
Now it's much better. Now
even the microphone wants to be away from his face.
Go ahead, Elmar. You wanted to say something?
I think we should be careful not to go into dogma, even when it comes to relationship with your family and your children, because you will have a situation where you will have an offer on the table or something, an opportunity that will necessitate you being away from the family. When that happens, you'll have to make a choice, and those choices are not trivial. Your ability to provide for your daughter, for your wife, and again, your wife is working now. She has a good career path ahead of her. It's not going to be as painful as it would have been if she wasn't working. But at the end of the day, if two of you are working, you're multiplying your income sources, your ability to provide good education for the child down the way, which is a big deal, and anything else. So sometimes you'll have to sacrifice a lot of quality time with your child. And I found that when you are in that situation, what really counts is the quality of the time you end up spending with your child. You might not have all the time, because I've seen, every person that I know in Azerbaijan, for example, thinks that I'm an amazing father. But interestingly enough, I've spent least time with my children compared to all of the same people. And so when I ask them, what makes you say that to me? They're like, well, we just see how both you and your children light up when you see each other, when you spend time with each other. It's always a quality time and everything. So scarcity is also, it can be good if it makes you appreciate what you have a lot more than you would have. If you know every day you're going to see a child, that's one thing. If you know it's just, about a month or two a year, that makes it a lot more different. So I'm not saying one is better than the other. Obviously, if I had a choice of earning all of the same money and spending all the time with my children, I would have chosen that. But if you end up having to make a choice, and if you think that it's going to be a painful choice. Don't think it like that. Would be my advice. Think of it as, okay, the amount of time that I will end up spending with my children, I will make sure counts every minute of it. And then again, when I became international with UN, we didn't have video calls. So it really was a couple of times a week, phone call, conversation with my kids. Now, it's a very different thing. I'm a lot more connected to my little one than I was to my first and second boys when I was away, simply because I can just video call him. He has his own phone, and it's just a very different dynamic. But the missed birthdays, the missed, firsts of all kinds, the first thing she says or does, or the first dance and the first performance and the first this, whatever, those are going to be painful if you're not around. But you can carry that pain knowing that in return for it, you're bringing something else to the table. So I don't think there's a perfect way. I think you should just embrace what life throws at you and understand that not everything is going to be as perfect as you want it to be. And if that's the case, that's okay. You'll just make it work with whatever setup that comes your way. Yeah.
So that was the good. Which was very deep, but bad and ugly for me. Bad was actually, I mean, this is very weird with bad because you just remember it when it's very recent, and I remember it, the fact that my mom got sick and they couldn't come to see the baby. That was very painful. She was in pain for a long time. That was very bad, and I was very concerned with her situation. She's much better now, and hopefully we are going to see each other soon. And by soon, I mean very soon, maybe in a couple of days. And ugly for me again is, I mean, this is the topic that I constantly talk about it with Shahab, was about work, because for me took a very, very, if not still by the time that we are recording this, but it took me a very, very long time to get what went down on me in the position that I had, and how, despite all those endeavors, it never worked. It was just the wrong medium. I cannot stop reminding myself of the conversations that I had with Shahab in the past. Like, I remember the text I wrote to him 3 years ago, and saying that if I do not fuck this up, I am, you remember that, right? Everything is gonna go very right. And I had no idea that it's gonna go fucked up. And since I wrote that message to Shahab to the date that I left the office, I did not do anything to blow it up. But it just didn't work. And the more I think about it, is like, you can only control a very, very, very little of the narrative. And the rest is what it is. So that was the ugliest, because I left the office, and I mean, a lot of love from my colleagues, like a lot. Those who they were indirectly working with me in offices, those who were following my policies, guidelines, specifically in hotline, those achievements, but the rest of it from my supervisors and like managers, that was very funny. That was very, very ugly. Like, I left $110,000. I'm talking like Chappelle. I left $110,000 in the boss and I started walking. That was very weird. Well, I don't know what happened. That was the ugliest part of the year for me. The separation was very ugly. But yeah, that's what it is.
So was it final as of when? As of end of September, or are you still on the special leave without pay?
Yeah, I'm still a staff. I'm on special leave without pay until the end of October, and my contract is until August 2025. That's the issue. So, so what is on the table for me is to report back to office on November 1st, or ask for
Sure.
another slope, or resign. Which office
Or
very with I mean the level of audacity is unbelievable that they put it in their emails that in case you are going to resign, you need to let us know in a month in advance. I'm like, I'm not going to resign. But anyways, yeah, that's the situation now. And most probably I'm gonna resign.
what is the
But
possibility of telecommuting?
that's not an option, and I'm not gonna ask for it.
But is that an option because you've asked and they've said no, or you don't even?
That's an option because I asked and they said every time yes. So that's an option. But with this specific one, they told me that the option for telecommuting is not on the table anymore. They need me in the office. And they need me in the office for many reasons. And by the time that they have me, for example, in November, it's too late for many things that they can rub all over my head. One of the biggest ones is the budget, which they have and they still couldn't work on. $110,000 for that project that I wrote. But I'm sure that they have their tricks to show that they've done a great job. So yeah, sorry, I made it very dramatic.
Life is dramatic.
Yeah, but I have had a very challenging time, specifically with myself. And I'm in a situation that I need to be. I mean, I'm very lucky that things are not going very wrong, very in. I mean, because if something related to health happened for any of three of us, then nothing else matters. So I'm extremely lucky that I have this huge mind space to think about this nonsense.
It's the attitude.
Yeah. So I am also appreciative of that. Yep, that was the 2024 so far for me. Not so many books, unfortunately, but I try to read as much as I can. I wrote articles this year, and when I think about the fourth quarter, I'm trying to be humble enough to put the bar as low as possible that I can take it. I am on 14 articles now in total, and I want to reach to 20 before the year ends. And I have no idea, because I remember that 2 years ago when we started, I was like, by the end of the year, I want 42 articles. And I'm saying that was 2 years ago. And I have 14 articles in total. So I'm trying to learn to put the bar low as possible. And I have the master for this in front of me. Because one of the things that I was always in my own head critical of was why Elmar is just going for very little goals. Like, he starts with, I don't know, 14 or one article a month, something like that. But then slowly, but I was like, of course you can do that. Or for example, when he wants to go for lifting, he starts with very light weights. I was like, of course you can do that. There's nothing to say that, yeah, I did this. But now I'm learning that you definitely need to put the bar, you need to be humble enough to put that bar as low as possible. Because I think the level where the bar locates doesn't matter much. What matters is that if you can reach that level. Right?
I mean, you want to play a long game.
I don't think what matters is reaching the level.
Everyone here has done that one heroic workout after which you can't fucking move for 2 days, and then instead of 3 workouts in 3 days, you have 1 workout in 3 days, however heroic. Every one of us has gone overestimating our ability and really underestimating everything else we have in our lives that overlaps with that one thing we want to do, and then under-deliver. So for me, under-delivering, even if I have that conversation with myself and I say, well, your expectations were unrealistic, it's not helpful to my mind and my ego and my self-esteem and all of that. Starting from a place where I can gradually increase and then keep things consistent. I mean, we were having this conversation with Shop some time ago, and at the end of the day, every other activity you can think of, time is the major compounding factor. And if you can just do over time the same thing over and over and over again, as we have all seen how, there you go, how Jiu-Jitsu works, right? I'm writing an article about getting a brown belt, and I'm like, there was not a moment in the time that I started doing Jiu-Jitsu all the way until I got the purple belt, and even after, that getting a brown belt was a realistic objective. It was always an unrealistic objective, right? To an extent that I never even thought about it. Getting a black belt, a brown belt, or whatever. You know, even purple was something I thought after getting a blue belt. But the only path to that is to keep kind of, you know, hitting the stone with a little hammer over and over and over a million times, and then you eventually get there. So,
Don't being the poor white belts you torture.
So yeah, it's one little
man,
thing
it's
at
not
a
like
time.
you don't do the same.
Hey, man.
Yeah, you also torture black belts. Me
I only
specifically.
do it to people who like it. I don't
No.
torture black belts.
You never tortured me, you little...
Yeah, you don't like being tortured. That's why.
Hey man, torture
man.
is part of life too, so we gotta give them a little
Care
bit
about
of
consent,
that.
brother.
Yeah, so incremental is the thing. Yes, I know it's a big fucking thing in the YouTube space and social media and everything that, oh, you can do this quick. You know, even Navarro Ravikant at some point says, oh, hard work over a long period of time is overrated. Yeah, maybe if you're talking about investment of millions and then you get billions in return, maybe if you're talking about software development and success in that field. But most of the activities that involve acquiring a skill, they do require a long commitment and really incremental work. And he knows that too. He likes making waves with unconventional things. So it works for me in everything I do, which is why I think it makes sense to continue.
What's that, Devran?
I would try to understand who he was.
Val Ravikant.
He's an author and an investor and There's a great book called
He's not an
Naval's.
author.
He's what?
He's not an author.
Oh, that's true. Some other guy wrote the book. But he is an author if you think of it in the sense of all his tweets and all of the YouTube videos and interviews. I mean, he provides good content. He just doesn't like to, I mean, he doesn't frame himself as such, but essentially he has provided a lot of good content. When it's about learning, when it's about the point of life, the meaning of life, how to grow, how to move forward, and so on and so forth, Ravikant is actually an excellent source. And not only that Almanac, which is a collection of his musings on different topics, is a great book, you could also check out the chapters that did not go into the book on the website of the book.
Really?
And then these 4 chapters that are on different subjects that did not get included in the book, also great. So
Know that.
overall, all pretty good.
I don't
I
know
mean, in
about
fact,
it.
I don't know if you remember, I had one of my articles was about whether we should work as lions or as mules. So
Yes.
mule being slow work over a long period of time, day by day, lion being quick explosive effort and then really chilling. And so he was suggesting that a lot of things we should do in life should be like a lion, which I don't mind, but I don't think just the lion approach really works. So I was suggesting a combination of the two.
But he was talking about like work, occupation, not a vocation. He was talking about
Sure,
if you want
but
to take
even
projects,
but
take
even at work,
projects, dash, and then rest in term of being creative so that you get to be the mule. You get to do
that's a
your
good
other-
concept, but look around at how many people you know that do that.
do what?
Realistically, I mean, do that kind of work. If you're a consultant, let's say Kia, now that he is free, he chooses to be a consultant, takes up a project, really works his ass off for 2 months, gets good money, and then chills for 3 more months after that, and then takes up another project. Now, if Kia had an indefinite supply of such projects coming at him, or him being able to market himself at a level where people would want to give him such opportunities, it's all great. But most of the time, that's not the reality. I mean, you have to get to the level where you can have this kind of a lifestyle or this kind of options. You have to work as a mule most of the time and really put in the work over an extended period of time on a regular basis.
Sure.
And so I think when Ravikant talks about working as a lion from his position, that's not, I mean, it's the same as a black belt recommending to beginners how they should train. The way you train now is not the same way you train when you were a white belt. So it's not always going to be effective advice.
I think he gets to be a lion because he's been a mule for such a long time. So he has the skills he's built up so he can dash at a project. But every other person needs to learn the skills and keep working while learning the skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very complicated. When I think about, but that's not the meaning of vocation and work. That's something else. Because
He is channeling his Jordan Peterson. Look at him.
how so?
The way you're looking at the camera and your gestures. Anyways,
I don't even know that I'm looking at the camera because I'm trying to look at you guys.
now he changed. Anyways, go for it.
Because I think about the idea of vocation a lot. Specifically, I mean, since I read The Second Mountain. And when Elmar says, if you look around, how many people do you see who they have vocation? I honestly don't know many. I don't know how it looks like. I have no idea. And the other thing is that if I know, I don't know if it makes.
Can I
That
suggest
much-
something?
Go ahead.
The same activity can be a vocation for you and work for somebody else. The key question here really is, would you be doing this if you were not paid money? And are you good at it enough that you're making a difference? If
Yeah,
if
this
the
is-
answer to both these questions is yes, then that's your vocation, even if for the next guy it's work, because that person wouldn't do this if it wasn't for money, or they would rather do something
It's a
completely
very good
different.
definition. I like that.
I think a better way to say it is, would you still do it if you didn't need money rather than if you weren't paid for it? Because that's very different.
I like that
Like,
even better.
Well,
yeah.
true, very true. But if you didn't need the money, there is one question that I'm trying to answer in a good way, maybe in a good way that it can make a good article. This question that if all jobs were paid equal, what would you do?
Well, yeah, that's an interesting concept.
Yeah, like, but it somehow reminds me that because when it comes to you cannot separate the income from the work. It's like you sit on a poker table and tell people we are playing with no money involved, and then there's no game. But honestly, I keep asking this question from people, and the more I ask the question, the more I understand that I myself have no idea what I'm asking for. But is it possible that all jobs are paid equal? And in case that all of them are paid equal, what would I do?
Well,
But
I
then I
guess
think,
two things you would do. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
thank you. But then I think that I was born and grew up in a system that was spoon feeding me for working and being paid. Like I have no I was born, I went to school, I was educated, I was graduated, and then I started working, and all of them were to earn money. And the more the better. I have no idea how would it be like. I mean, I have no idea how a vocation would look like.
Yeah, but maybe you're not supposed to. Maybe for you to, maybe
But
if
but the
you,
idea is appealing.
no, the idea is only appealing because you've done the exact opposite for such a long time. For me, it makes sense to do work for a long time so you can appreciate the alternatives, and then you can really be clear about what is it that you want to do. Because if you're lucky, and I say lucky on purpose, it's not a thing that you do by design, but it is often lucky, and you stumble upon something that is really your vocation and you happen to be paid for it too, then fantastic. Keep doing it. But sometimes doing the work that you're not enjoying is what pushes you to take the U-turn, right? To completely change the course of your life and then switch to something. I mean, like Devran was doing an office work. Every time we talked about it, he was clearly saying how he couldn't stand it. And maybe that was a factor that got him to really seriously consider doing jiu-jitsu full time.
Yeah.
As a profession and as a vocation and as something, as a source of income and so on and so forth. So maybe if his job was actually something that he enjoyed, he wouldn't have even gone this way. Or if it wasn't that bad, it wasn't too bad, then maybe we wouldn't have the black belt among our ranks. Who knows?
I think he's the closest one to having a vocation among all of us.
Yeah.
Yes, me too. But I don't know if he himself feels as such.
I think I do. I've been actually struggling with this same question. That's my entire 2024 actually. What am I doing? Am I making a difference? Am I actually contributing the way I want to contribute to others? I'm reminded constantly with small events, like just sometimes just gestures, mimics, some words, a couple of sentences sometimes from somebody, just a mere thank you. I can now accept those and see those, whereas before I couldn't see them. I couldn't count them as something that is of value. And since the goal is always financial freedom, at least for me, for many years. I started to think like, because I'm actually starting to build much better financial stability in the last year. I'm like, and what after? What's gonna happen afterwards if I actually achieve the goal, like the amount of money that is in my mind? Then what's next? But like,
Yeah,
obviously
that
there are
that's
steps.
what.
There are steps to the financial freedom, right? It's obviously the end goal of the financial freedom is in millions and perhaps even more. But to be completely free of mind, right? But what would I do? I thought, and I keep telling myself without thinking, I would want to do jujitsu and teach jujitsu and share jujitsu without the thought of money. So just out of passion,
That's why
because I
it's your
see how
vocation.
good it
Because
is
you
for other
still do
people.
it.
Sorry?
Exactly. That's why we call it your vocation. That because you'd still do it if you didn't need money.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially what Delmar was saying. If you weren't paid, so if you weren't paid, you would have to do something to get paid, so you wouldn't be able to do your vocation. But if you didn't need money and you still went at it, it's because it's what gives you meaning. And I completely understand, because that's what I would do too.
Yeah.
When I
See,
help
that's
people,
why
I see the results.
that's why
That's my
I
vocation.
think. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's why I think, in terms of doing a vocation, I am perhaps closest to Devran because I'm actually enjoying what I do. But if I did not have to do this, I probably wouldn't choose this. So it's still a step below in terms of it's not entirely a vocation. I do enjoy what I do for UN right now. It's not a torture. I actually enjoy coming to the office and doing all the things that I do. But if I had the complete financial freedom, this probably wouldn't have been what I would spend my time doing. Even if I'm good at it, even if, people appreciate it, even if there's clearly an impact, all of that. But if it was up to my preference, I would probably go for something else.
What?
What would I go for?
Mm.
I mean, there's a few things that I've thought about, and the most obvious ones of those is running my own businesses, and those would be definitely a bookstore or a chain of bookstores, definitely a gym or two of martial arts, and then what that turns into, who knows. Maybe I've thought about a possibility of opening up a private school, for example. So there's all kind of options there. I can't say that, but I would enjoy doing them more. But the only thing is, I would definitely hire people to take care of all the administrative aspects of those and only focus on the creative part of it.
I would like to say that you can be a good content creator, but you are a good content creator already.
Well, that is also obviously a potential career path. Right now, I'm just more of trying to see where that takes me without forcing the issue.
Yeah, because I keep thinking about what you have done during the last couple of years. And this is amazing. And I cannot go through your articles and not thinking that, my God, look at this stacking. Like one after one after one. I remember I remember the day that none of us were writing on Medium, only Devron.
Yeah.
And I remember that, and I was like, "What is this?"
Actually, the first one I wrote with Shahab in the room. We sat
Yeah.
at my place, and we just gave ourselves a task, and we both of us wrote an article and then posted it. So those were our first articles. And then we tried to play around with like writing workshop as part of the Silent Badges meeting, but that never worked because we were too busy talking shit to each other the entire time or eating.
But how do you do this, Elmar? Is there any specific way
What?
of thinking when it
How do I
comes
do
to
what?
How can you keep doing the same thing? Like when you put a goal at the beginning of a year. I mean, of course, I know you also would come up that I am lucky that terrible things don't happen down that year to stop me. I don't know. The dog doesn't
Really?
bite my hand to stop me from writing and stuff like that, you know?
That motherfucker.
Yes. But how can you keep coming back on that work that you actually have put on your agenda?
Just one thing at a time. I mean, I try not to focus on the big picture too much. You know, you need a
What is the
big
big
picture
picture
as
that
a
you try
goal.
not to focus on?
I mean, let's say what is the maximum achievement out of writing, for example, right? So let's say I have
Writing
a
a book
highly
or two.
successful blog. I have thousands upon thousands of followers who are interested in my content, turning it into book, turning it into, who knows, a YouTube channel, turning it into speaking ventures and so on and so forth, turning it into
This
a,
this is what you are
full-time.
not concentrating on.
I know that is a potential down the line, but I know also that if that's what you obsess over, then you're missing the sight of what Pressfield also describes in the War of Art. You really need to put in the work first. And then if it accumulates into that, great. And if it doesn't accumulate into that, then you will come out of it with some great lessons learned. But every time I'm writing an article or a couple of articles at the same time, that's really what all my attention is on. Just getting this topic sorted out. Once that topic is out of the way, I mean, sometimes people will tell me things from my article, and I may have even like, really? I wrote that? Like I've pushed it out of my consciousness so far away that I'm now focusing on this 1-2 topics in front of me that sometimes I'm actually surprised when I go over some of my old articles. But it's just one at a time thing. It's the same incremental improvement approach that I use for everything else. There's really no secret. That's the fun thing that I've discovered after all these years. None of this is a very complicated thing. You just get it, you ship it, you make sure it's done and sent and published, and then you focus on the next thing and the next thing after that. And then once you set for yourself the kind of a pace that makes sense, you're disciplined to stick to it. And the discipline, as you know, is an important skill that I've learned from Job.
I knew it was coming.
Me too.
I've been eternally grateful for that gift that
I
he's
don't
given
know if
all
it's
of us.
discipline. I mean, of course, there is some discipline there, but you are accountable to that work of yourself, which nobody else cares but you.
But for me, that's the easiest discipline to. I mean, again, I know it's a little upside down compared to what most people might think, but you reach a point when you understand that what you told yourself you really must do is that there's no one else watching, and this is enough. If I can do the things that I told myself I would do, even if nothing pans out of this writing career potentially, that's not the point. I'm training a muscle, and I know that tomorrow, if I promise myself to do something completely different, then I am capable of doing that. And every time you do that and every time you progress, that's just an additional validation of your ability to learn and grow. I would never have been able to do Jiu-Jitsu regularly if I hadn't done that with chess, with piano, with language learning, with, work and so on. Every other skill is kind of, it benefits from this ability that you train years after years after years. And so it really is that. I don't know.
Amazing.
It's probably, it's nothing complicated at all. It's just, I find that the workman-like approach is something that guarantees great results. Now, if you want exceptional results, every once in a while, you need to be inspired. But to be inspired, you need to understand what the fuck you're talking about. You can't be inspired if you're a beginner. You can't be inspired to go in and beat Gordon Ryan in a match. That's never going to happen. But you might have an inspired night if you spent years and years working your ass off at becoming a quality black belt. And then on that particular night, something just happened and you just went ballistic, right? Once. But sometimes people misunderstand what inspiration is. Inspiration is not going to save your ass if you haven't built years to build a skill set. Yeah. Like if you've seen sketches from Leonardo da Vinci, for me it blew my mind. And I saw that, I think, I was in my early 20s. There was a book, I don't even remember what it's called, it was in Russian, that was showing how Da Vinci sketched. And it was really not artsy. When you think art, you just think, oh, I have inspiration, I'm just going to go and draw and then magic will come out. No. He had charts, he had measurements, he had carefully studied what is the proportion of a finger versus hand versus arm versus the whole body. He would, measure everything in such mathematical detail that when he would produce these works, people were like, this is amazing. Not knowing how much work it took to produce that. How much methodical work, how much non-artsy work it took to produce that. And at the end of the day, I find that once I put in the craftsman's work, all of a sudden in a conversation with people who haven't put in the work, I sound like I'm the inspired person, or I'm the one with the touch of God or some talent or whatever. And I know none of that is true. I just have put in and absorbed thousands of units of material. And when I connect those units, that's when I come up with ideas, right? I mean, it's like we look at Devran doing something fancy and doing the role, and we're like, oh my God, that was amazing. Now, he knows it's nothing special. It's just something that he puts like 17 different things together, and then 18th comes out of it, But for us from the outside, it looks like magic. And that for me is a great misunderstanding about skill. And unfortunately, this talent narrative still drives the conversation. It's just, you work your ass off. You don't do it like an idiot, obviously. You do it by understanding every step of the way what you're doing, why you're doing it, connecting the dots and so on. And then beautiful things come out of it. And every once in a while, like I get feedback from you guys or from other people, how a particular article like really impressed or affected people's decisions or choices or life. And then I look at how many readers that article actually had. And it's not a guarantee that the article that impresses people in my surrounding most gets most views. One is not necessarily connected to the other. But at this point, I don't even care. It's a like little impact counts, and then I build on that, and then the next one, and the next one, and then we see what happens.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, your articles and your writing, I mean, the act of writing of yours is very inspiring for me.
Yeah, but again, go back. Look at my last article, right? And then if you think it was good, then look at my first article and compare. And I know
I'm not talking about the quality of your writing. I'm just talking about the consistency of your writing. And to me, it's very inspiring. I mean, each time that you drop something in the group, to me, it's a reminder that I need to write. And it's not in a comparative way. It's like, I mean, because I consider you guys as my brains, and in many aspects, I am happy to have these people to look into and remind myself of my shortcomings. Because there's no envy, there is no comparison, but there is always this reminder of you can do better, and you have good samples around you of doing better. So each time that you drop an article in the group, I'm like, that's amazing. This is just amazing. And what has stopped me to write my next article? So I go open Medium. I don't know, just by chance, many of the articles, not by chance, but this is exactly how it happens. Many of the articles that I write are coming after the article of yours that I read. I'm like, I need to go back to my drafts and finish this one.
Well, that's all I need to hear, honestly. What other motivation do I need? When you ask me how do you keep going, it's like if I feel like it teaches me something, if I feel like it has possibly positive influence on somebody else, that's all I need.
Thank you for that.
Shall we go back to 2024? I think
Yeah,
Devran
let's go.
started.
Let's go. Let's move on from me and let's go to somebody else. We can go to you,
To me.
Elmar. Yeah.
Okay, good, bad, and ugly. Well, good, definitely. I'm in a good place with people close to me. No serious conflicts, no serious health problems. So that makes me happy. That, as you said, is the foundation of everything else. If that is fine, then everything else can work. If not, nothing else matters. I looked at it just as we started talking. 82 books so far this year, which is already awesome because my record ever is 83, and I think it's going to be beaten.
You can do 83.
Yeah, I could do like Shahab with ice cream. I could do 84 and just stop. But we all know I'm not going to stop. We'll see where that goes.
In fact, when you were talking, I just ordered some ice cream.
While you guys were talking about ice cream, I was actually planning to get ice cream after the
stop
show.
about ice cream only.
When you were saying here that, I keep writing articles. Actually, I didn't think that this year I was very productive in terms of writing, but then I looked and I realized I've written 25 articles this year. And I will make an effort to do another 15, so I finish with 40 at the end of the year, but we'll see. There's been a series increase in following starting, I think, last December or November, December last year. And since then, interestingly, the readership has stayed stable at pretty much almost exactly 15,000 views a month. Now, I think the only reason it's at that level and not higher is because I actually did not continue writing at the same output level as I was doing last year. If I was posting articles more frequently, I'm pretty sure it would have gone higher. I'm reasonably happy with where I am with exercising. I think I'm at 220 workouts so far this year. 50 days that I didn't work out overall, but otherwise pretty regularly, includes everything. I'm happy I ended my Ankara assignment because it was starting to get a little like, when is this going to end type of situation, but it's over. So I was happy, and I think that's a good thing. I was also happy with the start of a different assignment in Gaziantep, and I'm happy that it's the same country. I'm happy that Gözde's with me. I'm happy that it is interesting for me to work in a new environment, but without changing too many of my habits, particularly about food. And then, I'm in San Francisco now, having a nice vacation, so all good. Brown belt was, I think I'll qualify brown belt both in my good and bad things of the year. Good in a sense that it was a proud moment. Bad, and let me switch to bad things now, in a sense of just understanding how much I need to go over. Sorry, just one sec. How much I need to learn and how much I need to study, how much I need to improve on. And I think that's another bad for this year, that I didn't train Jiu-Jitsu as much as I wanted to. But then I was reasonably happy that after last August when I fucked up my knee, and then in September in Shirinja when I fucked it up again, it is fully recovered, and I'm still careful, but it's actually good. And another bad thing, of course, is that I'm still kind of hanging in terms of the career. I want to get a little more clarity. Hopefully by the end of the year I'll have it. Ugly. I'd say one ugly thing was Shab's surgery. That was fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was messed up.
Great. And I remember how much negativity it gave me in terms of also seeing him go back to training. I literally at some point wanted to fucking drive to the gym and stop him from training, because I was really concerned that at some point somebody's going to do a knee on belly or something and then he's fucking start bleeding and shit. And
People try. Believe me.
I mean, it's
Really?
just...
Yeah. People are idiots, man.
Well, we know that, which is why we also... Anyway, moving on. Fourth quarter, I think number one priority is to get clarity about work. If I can solidify the whole Gaziantep situation, because the current head of office is leaving in November, mid-November even. So I will be the OIC for a while, but then hopefully once the recruitment is done, I will also be able to see, can I hit it at that level? And it's a P5 position. So for me, it'll be a big milestone in terms of the career. I want to hit 300 workouts this year. Let's see if I can. That I think it's doable, but that's 80 workouts in, what is it now? Over 90 days, so 100 days. So that should be okay. Reading wise, whatever, writing wise, if I hit 40, I'll be happy. Overall this year, I'm reasonably happy with everything that has happened. And I mean, Jiu-Jitsu learning is one thing that I want to prioritize, but there's just so much to do that at some point I think I have to do just the same thing I do with the articles. Just pick one thing, focus on it, study the shit out of it, then, close the chapter, move on to the next. Otherwise, the big picture is just too depressing. That's it.
This is amazing. Great. Right when you started talking about the fourth quarter, I started writing, actually. I started putting the bar as low as possible for myself.
Yeah. Yeah, but you see, that's part of the reason why I try to hit January out of the park is that just gives me the feel like having done this much in the first 3 quarters makes me feel relaxed about the fourth quarter. I can start kind of chilling and resting and relaxing.
So you do dash like a lion.
Yeah, but my dash is not 2 days. My dash is 3 quarters of the year. If you can sustain that. No, and again, make no mistake. I mean, I definitely have my lazy days, the days when I just sleep in, the days when I'm just tired, the days when I don't want to do anything. It's just as any other normal person. The problem is, I mean, most people allow that to be an excuse for laziness. And I think that's what I've been able to avoid. If I'm really tired, then I know that that this is just a day when I'm not going to do anything. But you want to have days like that, not weeks or months like that. And that really is the catch.
Awesome. Shall we move to the next gentleman? Who is going to be...
You want to go?
Sensei, take it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I started explaining what this year was all about, mainly not a bit, but entirely soul searching. what I want to do, where I'm headed.
That's your every year.
Well, I've come to my senses a bit late, let's say. I've been a lazy fuck for the
I'm
last...
pretty lost.
I've been a lazy fuck for the last 30 years, so now I can start.
Makes 2 of us, brother.
Well, we got to start somewhere. So, yeah. I came to a lot of realizations. I'm not going to state a lot of them, but I've made a lot of progress mentally.
Are you going to come out of the closet?
Soon. Still working on it.
Every time I'm thinking,
but
he's
yeah,
an asshole. Then he does something, and I'm like, nah, he is.
what?
I'm talking about Shop, not you.
I lost my trail of thought, man.
I'm so sorry.
Why you gotta do me like that?
You're
man?
not going to
Thank you,
say
Shop.
some of them.
Thank
You
you.
came to
I was
realization.
gonna add that to the end of the conversation. Now you ruined it. Now it's right out there. Jesus Christ.
So you came to a few realizations that most of them you're not going to share.
My God, am I a woman? But the good, the bad, the ugly. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm just trying to find the balance between family, relationship, friends, work. That's why I kind of like resonated a little bit with the beginning of our conversation today. Like, what is the proper thing to do, when is the right, the wrong, what is good for you, what is bad for you. To be honest, lately this single phrase has affected me a lot. You are responsible for your own happiness. So this really resonated with me, and we also keep talking with Shab about like what's good for somebody isn't necessarily good for another person, right? So there's no overall good and overall correct method of doing things, and I don't know. I can't say I'm really happy with the results that took place this year. Like I read like 7 books this year. It's pretty low, but I mean, I guess it was necessary. So I'm trying to be content with what happened and figure like I guess it was necessary. Whatever else happened, soul resting and realization, meditation, whatever, becoming enlightened, etc. I mean, I guess those all are good signs. Pretty rough days. Pretty rough days along the way as well. It was like a roller coaster, but I mean, we're here. Just going through the seas this year. I don't know. I don't really have much to say. I mean,
But you
it's
look
still a
much
roller
better.
coaster.
You look much more content, in my opinion, than the past.
I agree. You look more
I
kind of
see it
set,
too.
relaxed.
I think the problem me and Devran share, and I came to it right now when I was thinking about the good, bad, and ugly. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just talking about myself here. We tend to see the bad and ugly and not see the good. And I think the purpose of this group is others help you see the good too. Because
Yes.
what? Say it.
No,
Say
he
it.
read something.
Okay.
No. When you say we tend to see the ugly, I'm like, but that face every day in the mirror.
You tend to look in the mirror. So, yeah. So did you talk about the goods? I was at the door for 10
No,
seconds.
not yet. No. I mean, well,
You see, he even
thinking
starts from
about
the
it, I
back.
finally posted 2 instructions on Udemy. That's a
Hey.
big step.
Hey,
Exactly. You made
what was the
clothing.
second one?
Sorry?
Did I miss that? I didn't see the second one. What was the second one?
It was
Yeah,
guard
you made-
retention.
Guard retention.
Guard retention.
Okay, come on, we'll talk about
Drop
that.
the links. Drop the links in the group, man.
He did. Oh no, in Melivora.
Yeah, drop it in silent badges as well.
Yeah.
I'm a student of both, man.
Man.
I definitely will go for those courses.
Yeah.
That's what I need now.
If you can, if you will purchase it, gentlemen, if you can purchase it from the laptop, it will give me more commission. So instead of Udemy
Yeah.
taking all of it, yeah,
Dude, yeah,
the
I
app,
bought it from
the
my
app
phone. I
takes
think he
a
got fuck
shitload
all.
of the commission.
So bad.
It's good you said that.
I will do it.
Mhm.
Sorry.
I mean, for the last quarter, I have a couple of events planned. I mean, honestly, I just want to get my health back in order, get my injuries checked, be more mentally stable to begin with. I've come to realize the more mentally I'm in a better place, then everything else just falls into place, right? Like I serve better. I'm a better friend. I'm a better. I'm not a husband. What am I? A better partner. I mean, I'm a better son. I don't know. I mean, I'm a better person overall when I'm better up in here. So,
But a couch.
I mean, I'm still far away from saying that, but but we'll
No,
working
you
on
aren't. Your teaching has become better.
Yo,
Thank
man, your session. Yeah, I mean,
I
the
know some
session.
people don't like it because the techniques don't work on them, but I've been appreciating it.
No, the sessions are
I think I
amazing.
caught him the other day with the same thing. After that, I think I caught him again.
Being in two active academies during the last 2 years, I can see that what a gem people have in Medivora that they have no idea they have it. Because I trained with a very, very active academy while I was in Iran, and they're constantly going for competitions. They're winning medals, but they have judo background and they are not doing much jiu-jitsu. Trainings are not. There's no specific teaching. It's just drilling on toughness.
Classic.
So when I came back, and I mean, I could not show up for many sessions, but each time that I was showing up, I was like, this is amazing. There's something to learn there, which is beautiful.
Okay.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
I
Thank
can
you.
tell you
That's very
from
nice to hear.
yeah, actually, I didn't mention that, but teaching in Gaziantep has been a fun thing, and having done that now for a few months, I appreciate you, man. This shit is not easy, especially when you have complete noobs that you have to teach like fundamentals to. I'm like, fuck me. We take so much for granted in Melibora, and the fact that here's the thing that I don't know if you think about often. It's not even your skill as a coach. It's the fact that you persevered for so long to build a team, not once, but at least twice, with the COVID kind of breaking things up in the middle.
Yeah.
Because having brought the team where you have, for example, today, you have created a situation where you're maximizing the number of higher belts and then their input and support to lower belts, and that just blows the amount of instruction, exponentially. You cannot alone do this, which is what you were trying to do when we started, or when I started coming.
Yeah.
Dude, you're exporting coaches.
Yeah, but also
Dude, you
see
realize
that
we have
human
4
does it.
brown belts now in the team.
No, no.
That's what I when
Five.
I watched that video that Elmar sent of me receiving the blue belt.
No, wait. 1, 2, 3,
Safe?
4.
Are
Four,
you
four,
counting
sorry.
safe? Okay.
No, 4. Eda, for some reason, it was Eda and Denise and two of
So
us.
at COVID, we had 0 brown.
Everybody were one.
No, the run was in the brown belt.
Even
The round was
Now he has 4 brown belts under him.
yes, true.
One of
Yes,
them
exactly.
is going to get his black belt from someone good or him.
be back in a second.
Eventually. Hey man, I still have time to be good.
You got 5, 6 years, man.
Yes, sir.
Well, with the way you're going, you're gonna be better.
I assume so too.
Very good, Devran. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Shahab, do you want to go ahead?
Sure. So
Tell me about the bad first.
yeah, that's all I see anyway. So I'll have you guys help me with the good, because when I was thinking, I didn't remember much. So the bad, I have realized that I need people in my life. So you and Elmar being gone has been difficult because I don't hang out with people, right? I don't like people.
Hell, you mean you people?
And sense of belonging has always been an issue. Obviously, like, I am of mixed ethnicity. I was raised in a place with no relatives. I was a foreigner there. Now I'm in a foreign country. So it's always been a struggle to feel a belonging. I do get that sense in the gym, which is great. That's why it's my happy place. I keep going there. But outside, it's been a struggle. And I know we make jokes about the discipline thing, but finally this year I've realized that discipline is not doing it for me. I need daily motivation. And the more I read about whose background is it you, Elmar? Some fucking windy sound going on.
Yeah, there's a noise.
All right, it's gone. It was Elmar. He muted himself. Oh, good.
My God, am I a woman? Was that me?
No, it was Elmar. So yeah,
They're gone now. Nothing.
It wasn't Elmar.
I think it was
Elmar is
me.
not mute.
whatever.
Oh no.
So yeah,
Anyways,
part of the bad this year, I realized I have ADHD, and the more I learn about it, the more I understand the necessity for me, at least, for motivation, because I struggle with doing things that I know that are right, and it's not typical for a person, because if I explain it to a normal person, it doesn't make sense. I sit at the task knowing that I have to do it, and I am unable to do it. Now, having you guys helped give me the small nudges of motivation. Obviously, whenever we talked, I got hyped, etc. But it's been bad having you guys away. So, and I don't like it, man. I don't like being dependent on other people. But I guess as a human, you have no other choice. So that's a realization. What else is bad? Yeah, another part that is bad that I hope you guys would save from it is I think this year is the year that I have given up the most, because throughout my life I've been searching for fixing what is there to be fixed, and this year has been, I've disappointed myself more than previous years, let's say, and that's very demotivating. I will leave this bad here. The ugly was obviously I almost died. Interesting enough, that's also a part of the good thing, because it really strengthened my ties with my sister. And I got a new appreciation for life. I got out of a very dysfunctional relationship that's been going on for what now? 7, 8 years? On and off because of it. So that was good. And I think what I had also struggled with was putting myself first, which this almost dying helped me put into practice. But all's well that ends well. I'm going to show the scar. It's almost gone. Tonight I'm doing the last recovery peptide, and it's going to take the natural course again. Another good that came from that is because of this injury, I became a semi-expert in other things, right? Hormone therapy, peptides, etc. So I have learned a lot about a new subject that I had no idea about last year.
awesome.
And I said I'm gonna let you guys help me with the good, because my demons are I'm not good at remembering the good, and it's like life is always bad. But one thing that strikes me is I went to Iran and I saved my uncle from dialysis. He's much better now. Obviously, this I try to kind of trick myself into taking bad things in life and assigning a meaning to them, saying, "Oh, this happened because I had to go to Iran to take care of my uncle," etc. And I made the best out of the worst situation there, and that's been good. He's been feeling great. Dad's feeling great also. So I guess that's a good. But I don't have much else to add. Been slacking in the reading department, been slacking with the development department, been slacking at work.
Brown belt, you can't grateful for.
True. I don't feel like a brown belt so much that I didn't even realize.
No, that's because you're not, but you also are. So
Tell that to the sensei sitting here. Yeah, I don't think my
he
jiu-jitsu.
knows. He knows.
See, I was trying to dissuade him from giving me the brown belt because the last competition I went to, I lost, and very decidedly so. And he wanted to give me a brown belt then, and I was like, "Hey, man, look what happened."
So now you in Serbia you're going to compete as a brown belt.
There's no belt, so I'm gonna do my first
Oh,
pro.
sure. There's no belt. That's ADCC. Yeah.
One of the reasons I'm doing that is kind of to throw myself into the competition, to be forced to get my ass in gear, because otherwise I don't. And I technically don't have to do pro yet. I have another 3 months that
How dare you?
actually by November I'll have another month, but I will do pro. It's fine. So yeah, that's the reason I'm throwing myself into that. Not very prepared with the leg locks. Hopefully I won't get injured. Another bad. I did get injured as a brown belt. The curse.
By
The
a blue
curse.
belt, huh?
Huh?
Rolling with a blue belt. Is Artem blue?
It wasn't the blue belts. I mean, he's purple in skill, but he's blue in belt. But it wasn't his fault. It was mine.
Is he purple in skin?
I think so. I think everyone agrees.
Pretty good. It's very good.
Artem?
Yeah, it's very good.
I think outside of us, he's the best we got.
He is.
I'd put him up over Mustafa also.
I think
Definitely.
Dennis is better.
He's more well-rounded.
Deniz. No. Deniz is
Yeah.
good, but he's not better than Artun.
I
Deniz is
would be very curious to see how Alparslan would have turned out if he trained with us for a
Damn.
year.
He would have
I
had
think-
really good jiu-jitsu by now.
Yeah. But in his absence, I would say of the blue belts that we have, Artun is clearly head and shoulders above everybody.
He's very good.
The only thing he lacks is a bit of takedowns. Other than that, he's very well-rounded.
What happened now?
No, nothing. I'm saying we got some brown belts lacking in that department too.
Yeah.
It's not for the lack of me trying. Like, it's on you guys.
Every time we were having private with Devran, I was like, come on, man, let's just roll. He was like, fuck's sake, we have to learn.
And you guys are not bad at takedowns. I mean, Shab choked me the other day when I went in for a double leg.
That's not a
In my
takedown.
defense, I was too tired.
Takedown defense.
It was a Shark Tank, but still, that was a good high elbow, high risk
My
guillotine.
headlock game is shit, but thanks to Danaher, the high risk just covers everything else.
Yeah. And you
Because
do it
my-
pretty well too. It just like sticks in place.
Yeah, my guillotines are pretty shit. I don't understand the mechanics of an arming guillotine, etc. But with the high risk, I can close the gap, and it artificially makes me a much better headlocker.
Mhm.
So
No, these days, well, in Gaziantep for sure, but normally I bait people to take me down. Go for it. Go for a double leg. See what happens.
did you guys watch the Shark Tanks in Melivora? Let me send them to the group.
It's like so bad.
No, didn't. And one of the good things that I really want to do is to start training here if I can. That would be amazing.
We got an Egyptian here. I tried to ask him for you, but I don't. He didn't know much. He said there's MMA gyms, etc.
No problem. But thank you for this. That was amazing. That was
Yeah.
very good.
This was a really good event.
That was very good. And this is awesome. We can do it more. We can like just an hour. I don't know. I don't want to put a time on it. Say it every couple of months, every couple of weeks. But
We can do it every couple of weeks. Why not?
yeah, we can.
I
This
suggest bi-weekly.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks, let's do.
Yeah,
that would be
listen.
amazing.
Here, I have weekly
minimum.
meetings.
Best
that
I can do is
produce
3.
nothing. I would much rather do this every 2 weeks
I
for
know.
sure.
I know.
Listen, whatever happens with this is, if anything, if you want to go into podcast as something, I mean, as a minimum, we're learning what
Exactly.
it is and how it works and everything related to it.
Exactly.
And then let me remind you what I saw. I think Chris Williamson said it. He said 90% of all podcasts don't make it past the 3rd episode. And then 90% of the remaining 10 don't make it past 20. So to be in the 1 percentile, the 99 percentile, or the 1% of top performing podcasts, All you have to do is record 21 episodes.
Yes.
And it's that simple. And then you
Go
go
record 21 episodes and put it out.
This keeps baffling me, man. Alex Hormozy says the same thing. It's like, when something is hard, I'm happy because nobody else is going to do it.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, I mean, you know how you make a face when I say 82 books? The truth is, we live in an age where reading 10 books a year is a major achievement because nobody else does. I mean, look around. And I did that in Gaziantep. I did that in Ankara. Ask people around you how many books they read in a year. You'd be shocked if
doing
you
that.
see anybody saying
Stop
two
doing. People disappoint you so badly.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
I was cornered because of reading books in the office.
Yeah,
I mean, people looked into my eyes and they told me they hate books. I mean, this cannot even be a sentence, but somebody said it to me.
Everything that we do, exercise, reading, writing, studying, learning, and so on, and talking about this with each other, nobody does. I mean, very few people do this, which is why if you just put in a modicum of work, to succeed is easier than ever because we have all the tools. It's just a matter of putting in the work. And the only people that you will find are worth competing with are so few that you can share the space that you want to occupy with them. And everybody of the high performers will be fine. You know what I'm saying? So you don't even need to compete with those ones. That's the environment we're in. Anyway,
Yep.
I love you. Being on the
Love
other
you
side
back.
of the planet.
Thank you so much.
I miss you guys.
Love you, sir.
I'll see you
Thank you,
hopefully
guys.
soon.
Thank you very much. Love you so much and have a great night.
Dude.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Love you guys.
See you soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.